Oh my God.
Now it is. The stream is live. Okay, we're live now.
Yes, I had to remind Kristen that how to go live really quick. So
It's
how are
okay.
you today, Kristen?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. A little behind. Sorry, everybody. I am a little behind today. Was having a little bit of technical difficulty. Can the audience, can the chat, can you guys hear me? Okay. I guess now that we're live, it's a little bit more appropriate to ask that question. Check, check, check. Am I on the mic? Maybe not. I don't know. It might just be our private conversation today, Kristen.
Hey, whatever. I'm good with whatever.
Um,
I know Sleuth just checked in and said hello, so
we did.
hopefully
Yeah,
he,
I know. I see that. Yeah,
well,
sleuth, sleuth.
hopefully, yeah.
I might hold up a sign. I mean, I don't know what else to do because
Hey,
oh,
Lisa.
sounds good. Oh, good. He says I sound good. All right. Well,
Okay,
oh,
good. So, okay,
excellent.
he can hear.
I'll stop freaking. I'll stop freaking out about that now. Um. Okay. A quick introduction. If you guys don't know Kristen, I don't know how you couldn't. I have like 100 subscribers, and she has thousands of subscribers. But she's from a show on YouTube. Her channel is called Kristen Behind the Crime Door. She's been doing it for how long, Kristen?
I started my channel in January of 2021.
Okay, so
2022, sorry. I'm behind.
okay.
Yeah, 2022. So almost 2 years come January.
And is this something that you feel like I mean, do you feel like you're just getting deeper and deeper into doing the channel stuff? Do you feel like this is never, this is like your mission now or
Yeah, I do. I really enjoy doing true crime. I enjoy covering the cases. I really started the channel because of Delphi. I mean, Delphi was the
Mhm.
reason that I did this, but I found out after doing that there is a huge need for the voices for some of these cases to be out there. There's so many cases of missing and cold cases that have never been solved that need
Mm.
our attention and need the public's attention.
Certainly that is true. Thousands probably over the years, honestly. Probably Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve would have a pretty good idea of that with the Cyclops system that's coming on board. I think everyone pretty much knows about that.
Right.
Well, maybe they don't know about that. Maybe I actually have a few people that are kind of new to this forum and to explain, I mean, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you probably know better than me, but it's a system where they're setting up for the general public um, the stats and kind of facts around every sort of missing and unfortunately murdered child that up until the age of 18, I think that for each state
Yes.
individually, is that
For
right?
each, yeah, for each state.
Mhm. So it's going to be a resource for communities to kind of be able to track if you want to call them hot spots where things were happening and probably a plethora of other information but so we're going to have to probably start out right away talking about the new Delphi. Oh, well, actually, let me first finish your introduction. I'm sorry. Um, Now YouTube isn't your first foray into sleuthing. Now, you had or have a subreddit. Is that right?
Yes, I do have a subreddit. It's called Delphi's Daughters. Again, I started that subreddit specifically for Abby and Libby and the Delphi case. And the
Hmm.
reason that I started that subreddit was because I felt that the subreddits that were covering the Delphi case at the time wasn't really giving Abby and Libby um, the respect that they needed as um, victims.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is I think people lose sight sometimes of the fact that this isn't fan fiction. What we cover is real life, and there are real emotions. There are family members that are cut to the core over this. Scenario. And I think a lot of times people online lose sight of that. And all they're looking at are the facts, or they're just looking at it as as this germane type of fan fiction.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a trendy thing to do, and I kind of equate it to the same kind of folks that would wanna go to, the gravesite of Charlie Manson and have a glass of wine every year. I just think it's weird. I think it's not necessary. I don't see why anyone would wanna celebrate a killer, of innocence, and, I'm not for it personally, and I can see why when you take somebody like that's gonna be basically martyred, you bury him in secret like they did Osama bin Laden, you know what I mean?
No, I totally do.
Yeah,
We always remember the murderer or the criminal's names, but a
mhm,
lot of times we completely forget the victim. And that to me needs to be flip-flopped. We need to
right.
remember the victims and not necessarily give give all the time to the people who commit these horrific crimes.
And that's not to say that if someone's been accused of a horrific crime, and even if they've been convicted of it, but clearly they're not guilty of it, that you wouldn't stand up and fight for that person,
Oh,
because we
no.
want justice to be served, honestly, not in a slanted way, just so we can say the case is solved, like certain authorities possibly in the well, Delphi region or whatever. Um,
No, exactly.
it's sometimes it's better to drag things out. It's good for the press or whatever. It keeps I don't know what's going on over there, but we'll get to it. Trust me. Um, uh, do you still and I kind of feel goofy for not checking, but I've been I'm not a research machine. I'm not a natural at this, sort of broadcasting thing. So I'm sort of winging it. But do you still have the Reddit going? You said yes,
Yes,
because since I'm yeah.
Delphi Daughters is still up. It's still an active subreddit. I have other people that help with that Reddit now. Since I got so busy with YouTube, it was really hard for
Hmm.
me to really manage it. But I mean, I still have my hand in it over there, and um, obviously, I try to contribute as often as I can. Um, but I did have, like I said, pretty strict rules for my subreddit. So a lot of people found out real quick that I wasn't going to allow just any old thing posted to that sub, because I really did want that to be a place where the families felt safe in going and seeing things about the case and about Abby and Libby. I tried to, just bring more awareness to the girls. Besides them being victims of a crime, these were two beautiful children who
Right.
had, an enormous future ahead of them. And I wanted people to become more familiar with the girls.
Well, I think that's a good, especially when you're talking about a cold case. I mean, this still hasn't been solved yet, for God's sakes. I mean, why would you want? There's just so much drama sometimes involved, and sensationalism and things like that that's sort of involved in murder cases or anything. And to me, that's just the wrong approach to it. You just got to be level headed and keep trudging through. Well, that's weird. Whoa.
Hey, Randy, good to see you.
Oh my. Oh, Randy, Randy. Hey, Randy, grab it. Good. I'm really honored that you're here, sir. I've enjoyed watching you over the last probably year and a half, Randy. Seeing you on well, when Marv and Frank were, I don't know, are they divorced? I don't know how you talk about it when creators split up. I know they divorced. I mean, I don't know, but
I
I don't know.
think Frank would just say that, they decided to go their separate ways.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all right. Well, that's probably the best way to keep it. And I'm just kidding you guys in case you're listening, either Frank or Marv for that matter. And hi to both of you. Uh, also, I forgot who requested. I was gonna play some Tech Death Hippie for you coming in, Kristen, but I still really don't know how to put music or anything else on. But I did make you a moderator if you want to play your own music on my show.
You are so sweet.
And Sleuth also, I made you a moderator, and if D Ashley's here, I don't know. I made her like a managing editor. So no, I made you the man. I don't know. Don't know what I. Here's my idea. What do you think of this, Kristen? Instead of either there's no moderators, or we make every single person a moderator, and it's like freaking Thunderdome, and people just start throwing each other out and timing each other out. I think that'd be fun. Uh,
Trust me, as you continue to do this, you will get better and better at this. And,
I
it's
hope.
always a learning curve. You're perfect for this forum. I think you're going to do fantastic.
Well, I appreciate your confidence. I'm not so sure that I have it in myself, but I guess time will tell. Time will tell. I mean, if I get a few episodes, under my belt, I feel like the more that I do, and again, it's just really honestly, I don't think I'm bringing anything new really necessarily out in terms of a case or anything, but I'm doing it just for the creative. Like if I don't do something creative, my head's just gonna explode, and so I have to kind of dedicate myself to something. Well, it was my eBay thing for a while where I had this vintage store. I still have that, but I don't. I'm sick of doing. I'm so sad. I just want to sell the whole damn store. Can you sell the whole store on eBay? I don't know.
I don't
Oh,
know.
anyways, so okay, now let's talk Delphi, and I should be trying to pay attention. If anyone, well, I guess notices in chat, Chris, if you see any good questions, don't feel free to shout them out. I know that you're a total machine on your channel, as Mr. Steve has pointed out, how you do that. We don't understand how you do that. We really don't, and you are so good at managing. Um, the chat, and you're like even able to scold people somehow and still keep everything on track, and then but still do it, and like and you do it in such a kind of a teaching sort of natural way that it's never even really offensive when you do that. So it's a pleasure to always listen to you. um
You guys are so nice. Thank you so much.
what do you make of, I mean, I'm sure this is just sort of a general question on this new stuff coming out. How much credence do you give to this BHBS, if you will?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. I deep dove this whole um, scenario with my main moderator on my subreddit over 3.5 years ago, and almost 4 now.
A
Um,
little ahead of the curve, you would say.
oh, way. This is
Way over
not
here.
something new.
Okay.
Everything that was brought out by the defense in regards to Odinism and Odinites, this is not new, a new narrative in this case. There were rumblings of this years and years ago.
Right.
And this particular individual that was called out, and I'm not going to name names. Obviously, you know me. I'm not going to do
Hmm.
that to
Good.
anyone.
Hmm.
This person is innocent, and I'm not. They've not been charged with anything, so I'm not going to be one of those people that. Gosh, I don't even know where to start with this because it just brings up so much emotion for me. First of all, I think it was extremely in poor taste by the defense to put names in this memorandum that they did. They could have, if they wanted to use names simply for the court, they could have done that, and they could have taken those names out before it was posted
Hmm.
on my case. But they didn't do that. And they did, I think, that for a reason. I think that this was um, more more so than a court document. I saw this whole thing as their attempt to get ahead of what their defense of Richard Allen is going to be. And they were trying to get around a gag order. They couldn't talk about the case publicly. They couldn't make comments or anything. And I think
Hmm.
that this was what they were trying to do, which is fine because that's what a defense team is supposed to do. They're supposed to vigorously defend their client any way they can. I don't
Sure.
think
Yeah.
I don't think they have a defense of Richard Allen, frankly, and that's why they went to this. The narrative in that document, Derek, is so similar in writing style to people that I know from Reddit and people
Hmm.
that I know from YouTube. And I know that there are YouTubers and YouTube creators helping the defense on this case.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm floored. When you look at that document as a professional and you look at how it was written and all of the typos and the misspellings that are in that document, I was floored, first of all, by that. And look, I'm not an editor by any sense of the word, and I make
Right.
my own mistakes. But
But
I mean, when
I
you're
mean, proofreading is something you learn in the most standard of educations. I mean,
exactly, and this document was not proofread by anyone, in my opinion, and
right.
it was just put out there, and it is so emotionally charged as well. I mean, how many times um, did they have to say the slow death of Abby? The slow death of Abby. What was that all about? I mean, come on, you
I mean,
know?
just to break in quickly, I think what and I haven't read the document. I'll be honest, I haven't. But I
No,
mean, I did listen to someone else read it verbatim, and I think that some of that was to illustrate exactly how long it would take for one person to actually. But I'm not saying that's what was going on when they said the slow death of Abby. But is it to re-emphasize the fact that how could he have done that alone? Maybe that's where they're tying it in. I don't know. What do you think?
I just feel like it was horribly um, wrong for them to do what they did when they talked
Yeah.
about the crime scene the way they did, when they talked about the positioning of the bodies and all of that, to make that public. Now,
Hmm.
this document was made public, and then
And
they
what lets them
realized
do that?
somebody
What
again,
lets
it's
them get around a gag order like that? What allows them legally to get around a gag order?
I don't know, and we haven't heard from the court yet, so we don't know
Okay.
what's going to happen with all of this and how Judge Gull is going to accept all of this or see all of this. We haven't heard from her yet. But I guarantee you that's what was happening here, that's what they were trying to do. And so they put this out and they made it public, and then they changed their mind and made it not public right away within like an hour or something.
Oh, okay.
And so they took it down so you can't see it anymore, but it's
Mm,
already out there and it's everywhere. And if
oh,
they honestly believe as a defense team that there is someone else or five other people, as they've claimed, that are responsible for these murders, why would they tell them what's at the murder scene? Why would they describe a murder scene
right.
to the public? That's not
Right.
something that law enforcement ever does. They keep that stuff close to the vest so that when they do acquire a suspect and get them into interrogation, that person is the one they want telling them about the murder scene, not us telling them, it allows people to confess to crimes they didn't commit. And I mean, in this community over the years, the last 6 years, people have been really upset because we've known so little about the crime scene. And I know that people jump. They're like, "Oh, we know now. We know this. Now we know that." Well, we still don't know for sure. This is coming from one side, only one side, and that's the defense. And we have to
Right.
remember that always. They
Right.
are going to say whatever they have to defend their client. And they don't have to prove any of it. They don't have to prove anything. Now, the
Good
judge
point.
may ask for proof of this if she's going to grant what they're asking. She may want to see proof. But as far as in the court of law, the defense proves nothing. People are always saying, well, we'll prove it. If the defense is going to say that, prove it. They don't have to. And they can say whatever they want to. And a lot of times they do in opening statements. And they never, ever in the body of the trial come back and actually do the things that they say they're going to do in opening statement. It happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, I guess I want to start out by leading it down a certain path and a certain narrative, and hope that as they wind their way through the bullshit forest, that by the time they get to the end, that everyone's still behind them. But we'll see, I guess. Um, da, 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 let's see. I'm obsessed with who the witness is for young bridge guy sketch. I just can't get over it. I mean, in the Derek Farmer theory, it was Richard Allen, but as I went back and Sleuth, if you're listening, Sleuth, I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, I went back and watched a show of yours from it was April of crap. I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, April 17th, 2022, broadcast of Sleuth Intuition. He asked the same question that I've been asking, and that is, without using names, I'm just going to say the exterminator. Okay, I,
Hmm.
I'm going to say the exterminator. I think it's certainly possible, and Sleuth, you made a great case for it last April or 2 Aprils ago, that he was that witness. What do you think?
As far as who do I think's the witness that gave Young Bridge Guy sketch?
Yes. I
Um,
think I thought in the Derek Farmer theory it was Richard Allen because when oh, who's the guy, the state police guy, Doug Carter, said that if you put the two sketches together, and it's funny
right,
the way he said it, and let them fall away, what you have behind it is the person that is responsible for the death of Libby and Abby. I
right,
mean, it would be so much clearer if Doug Carter would have said, if you put the two sketches together, that's your killer. But he didn't say it like that. The way he said it, and in my
right.
head, I'm going, well, they don't look anything alike. So how else could those two fit together as the same person? It would be that since Richard Allen went to the police so early, he must be responsible for the young bridge guy sketch. But it's mere speculation on my part, just a theory.
Well,
I
you
mean,
you have to remember that sketches are not photographs, and sketches are only grabbing what I don't know how to explain how I view a sketch. I view a sketch as the this is a resemblance to someone. This isn't
mhm,
a picture of someone. They're not going to look identical to the sketch.
right.
I will tell you, when I saw Richard Allen the first time I saw him, I nearly fell off my
Yeah,
chair
I
because
think we all did.
I
Yeah,
thought, my God, that's Bridge Guy.
that's bridge
My
guy.
God,
Yep,
that's Bridge Guy. And especially when you look at his picture from
definitely.
2016, like November of 2016, when he had the close the beard, but it was super close shaven, and
Yeah, that
he was, really,
douchey goatee look.
yeah, much thinner. And like I said, I mean, I just think he looks like Bridge Guy to me. Now, when you look at the young Bridge Guy sketch and you put the
Thanks,
young
Ruth.
Bridge Guy sketch on top of old Bridge Guy, if you
Hmm.
look at those two, they have the facial features are the same, the eyes, the mouth, the nose. You have to look at that. So to me, it is the same person. So
Yeah.
I've always
Mhm.
seen it that way, that the young
Really?
bridge guy sketch and old bridge guy sketch are the same person, and that it's through the eyes of different people. Derek, when you and I look at someone, us being older, we're
Hmm.
gonna we're gonna view them differently than if you've got eighth graders looking at someone. They're gonna think this person's old. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah,
I still go back to that. As far
sure.
as the witness goes, I don't think we know all the witnesses per se yet. I don't think they may have been told to
Well,
us.
I'd like to go back to a phrase that was uttered um, right after the murders, maybe about 4 days after, by the exterminator. And he said on the local news, and I just watched this, he said, quote, I saw some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation. And when the sketch artist did his interview, the one that did Young Bridge Guy sketch for the state police, Travis something, I can't remember his name, but
Right.
he said the witness, he said, quote, it's not, well, this is not a quote actually. I'm paraphrasing now what he said, but the sketch artist said this person felt they had some information that needed to be passed along that would help with the investigation. And it
Yes.
was so similar to what the exterminator said that it just in my head it clicked, like, that's gotta be the guy responsible. So,
I think that, and it's very possible that there is more than one person that helped produce these sketches. We have to remember that too. It may not just be one person's rendering. It could be multiple people and they put them together.
mhm.
And so I've thought of that way as well. Honestly, I think the sketches have hurt the case far more than they've helped the case because
Oh, yeah.
people relied on them so much. And I still go back to when sorry, Derek, when Doug Carter told us all, you know, we're putting this sketch out for people who know this man, people who will recognize his mannerisms, people
Right.
who will recognize him. This wasn't for you and me. This wasn't for any sleuther or person on the web to go out and pull out people from Facebook that resembled the sketch. That's not what this was about. This was about people that um, work with this guy, people who live with him, people who
Mhm.
know him. And that's what they were hoping, is that someone like that would recognize him from not only the video, but the sketch.
And
And
isn't that essentially what sketches are supposed to do? Really, it's
yes,
more about an expression on someone's face, that
yes,
crinkle in the forehead, the way their eye sags on one side, where you kinda like someone that knows them would pick up on that right away, but
yes,
not necessarily the general public, yeah.
exactly. And that's the truth. I mean, I firmly, um, I firmly believe that.
Well, so how many more are involved there is? I mean, what do you I mean, this is always a speculation. Every single episode about Delphi, about every episode is always
Yeah,
the comes back, and it's funny because when I was talking to I think it was Sleuth right before this news broke. I said my biggest fear is that it's a bigger, more like evil conspiracy. And sure enough, 3, 4 days later, this all comes out, and I'm like, well, there it is. There's the bigger conspiracy. And
yeah.
now they're basically implicating LE. I mean, you might as well just come right out and say it, right? I mean, if they're saying they're negligent, then this makes this more sound like they're negligent on purpose. Well, is that a little bit more than negligent? Isn't that criminal?
I mean, like I said, there was a lot of stuff in this memorandum. I mean, they threw a lot of people under the bus in law enforcement, and they better have guns to back it up, is all I'm saying, because I know at some point we're going to get a rebuttal on this from the prosecution and probably from law enforcement, but they can't right now because they're under a gag order. And
Right.
the defense knew that. Get this,
Sure.
the defense knew that by putting this out there, that nobody
Yeah.
was going to be able to respond to this. And they were hopeful of that because all they have to do is create reasonable doubt. And they only have to create reasonable doubt in one person's mind. Only one person on that jury has to be convinced that there's reasonable doubt to Richard Allen's guilt, and the case
Mhm.
is done for. Now, they did a good job of putting reasonable doubt out there with this memorandum. However, I think you have to be reasonable when you look at everything. And I don't buy the runes. I don't buy any of it. I
I
just don't. And the reason is because
know
I
it.
do believe that this was all looked at by law enforcement, by the FBI. I believe that at least one or two of the people, for two for sure, that they've named. And I've read the document. I have the document. I have it in my possession. And I mean, I've been over it. I've read it now 3 times. And these people have been looked at, as far as I'm concerned, by law enforcement, and was said to be no. The main person has an alibi. And that, once you have an alibi that can't be broken,
Mhm.
you're kind of screwed in law enforcement
Which
because
which might make him feel a little bit, spunkier to maybe be putting some weird shit out on his own social media, kind of challenging,
Mhm,
knowing very well he has an alibi. If he's
right,
that kind of guy, I mean, I know plenty of dudes that are these sorta, Midwestern dudes that, regardless of the subject matter, if you accuse them of something, they're gonna hit you back, and
right,
and this probably his attempt to do that if he's not involved in it. And I wouldn't. I, it's not a very classy move, man, to put that kind of stuff up. Obviously, if I had any advice for this guy, I'd say never ever. Don't
Yeah,
even bring up the word the Vinland ever effing again. Just don't bring it up. You
right,
know, no one
right.
cares. No one cares about your fucking Vinland struggle. Sorry about the language.
No, you're fine. You know what's funny about it is that this whole area of Indiana is, I mean, I've touched on this both in covering Delphi and covering Flora. There is white nationalism is all throughout that area. And so to have these kinds of splintered groups, it's giving Odinism a bad name and this whole pagan religion
Sorry.
because
I don't know. Everyone always says that, but it just already like Odinism on its own is a shitty name. I mean, it's a terrible name. I mean, and the idea of like celebrating, but like, and when I hear them, they got the little reenactments and stuff. I've always hated reenactments, by the way. I find them to be ridiculous. And living in a college town, Western Michigan University, I would be at the reenactment capital of the world for the Medieval Fest at Bilbo's Pizza in a Pan. And all of a sudden I'm surrounded by swords and people are acting out their scenes, and I'm hammered. It's never ended up good. It's a good thing that those folks aren't typically violent in real life. I would have gotten my butt kicked a few times, but um uh well, how pissed off are you when we don't bring up Flora first?
pretty
And I
pissed
don't mean
off.
at me. I don't mean at me. I mean at the community.
I'm pretty pissed off at the community for not covering Flora the way Flora should be covered. Um, and um, it doesn't bring views, and that's why it's not covered. And I simply know that from when I cover it, how my views go down versus when I cover Delphi. I mean, when I
Oh,
cover Delphi, I have 2 to 3 times more views on Delphi than I do on my Flora stuff. And, it angers me.
yeah, because to me, murder's murder. I don't understand how they keep saying like phrases like well, guess that arson went bad, and shit like that. Like no, they just killed 4 kids.
Right,
Uh murder's murder. I mean, it's like murder 2 in Indiana. Like, okay, it led to their deaths. Doing a felony led to their deaths. Put them in the chair just like you would Richard Allen, as far as I'm concerned.
right. And they've been they talk about, the community's so up in arms about how quiet the law enforcement has been over Delphi. They've not been nearly as quiet as they have about Flora. Look at all the press conferences that they gave on Delphi. How many have you seen on Flora? With
Non-existent.
all these people standing up on a stage and talking about Flora.
And that and believe me, I don't think we're saying, and I'm not, and I'm sure you're not, to take anything away from Abby and Libby. I
God,
mean,
no,
that was a horrific
no,
case. It deserved. I mean, when you have a psycho killer on the loose, that is a bit different than maybe somebody that did an arson for a different reason than was like for murder. I mean, but I don't think you could say that about Abby and Libby. I feel like that was a direct attack on
oh, it
innocence,
was. Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm not saying that the attack on the Flora girls wasn't an attack on innocence, because it was definitely an attack. And I think there's other little stories underneath there that have been bubbling for years, whether or not they're true or not. And I had heard this Odinism thing um on a creator show when I first started listening. I didn't even know there was a thing called web sleuthing, a year and a half until a year and a half ago. And but anyways, I kind of lost my train of thought.
You're
Uh
fine.
but is there any new news on Florida? I mean, since we're on that subject, I mean, let's just talk about it a little bit at least, and
Well,
get it
I
out
will
there.
tell you that in May of this year, Doug Carter finally came out and said that Galen Rose, the girl's mother, is not a suspect and
Good.
is not considered involved in this crime. And people have thrown her under the bus for so long. I'm
Hmm.
sorry that it took him nearly 7 years to to come out and finally say that. Um, you know,
Yeah, right.
it's sad because this has devastated her. This was her life. These children were her life. She worked, she was a mom, she cared for them, she had them in dance, she had them in cheerleading, which, trust me, private cheerleading, taking your kids to cheerleading on the weekends, like guys do for, well, I shouldn't say this because it's sexist, but like people, excuse me, like people do traveling soccer, traveling baseball,
Sure.
whatever. Cheers the same way. That is not a cheap or you know,
Inactive. Yeah.
it's an activity that takes money. It's an activity that takes a lot of time. She did all this for her girls to
And
keep
work
them
like 2
active.
job and it worked like 2
Yes,
jobs too or something, like 3
exactly.
jobs. I don't know.
Yeah.
She sounds like a hero to me. I don't know if people wanna go around it, like, accusing her of I'm pretty certain that considering her position in life, if she was guilty of it, the cops around there definitely woulda linked to that up.
Well, if you just
Excuse
look
the
at
heavy
the
snark on the tone, but you know what I'm saying.
if you look at the depositions that have been taken for the civil case, they deposed the one of the guys she was dating. And they got right into they wanted to know all about their sex life, and
But
all of
that's
that.
all
And I'm
yeah.
just like, come on. Why is that even relevant? Are you going to ask that of a guy? I mean, that's a suspect or whatever in something,
Right.
or whose 4 children are murdered. Are you gonna go and
Right.
say, "Well, who's he sleeping with, and how often do you see
Yeah.
him?" And, and all I mean, I was appalled.
Downright disrespectful is what that is,
It was. I was
and,
very, very, very shocked.
I mean, I don't care, again, what your class is in society, but, we have to stand up for each other, when in my opinion, when we see that kind of
Yes,
stuff going down because it doesn't matter what your political, leanings are, left, right, whatever. I mean, we have a constitution that applies to everyone, and to be falsely accusing people of crime and to not be I know there's nothing in the constitution about being nice to anyone, but my point is, the golden rule is always a good one to live by, and, even
agreed.
if you're not religious, and I'm not religious, but I still think it's a damn good rule.
I
Uh,
think it's um an awesome rule. You know me, I'm always the be kind person.
mhm.
If you can do anything today, be kind, in your thoughts and your deeds. We just need to take a step back before we say things so that we um, don't hurt people with our words, because words do hurt. I grew up
They sure do.
with the saying that sticks and stones will hurt my bones, but words can never hurt me. And that's not true.
Yeah,
Words
you're
hurt.
right, they hurt really bad,
They
actually.
hurt
In
really
fact,
bad.
I'll be honest with you, I'd rather get pummeled than, be verbally assaulted. I mean,
Mhm.
I'd rather just have you sock me right in the head because, that I can put my own head around, but when someone is saying, like, really crazy negative shit to you, sometimes it's hard to digest that in a rational way. Um, but let's not get into my personal life. Um
I can't imagine anyone being disrespectful to you.
Oh, oh, well, I don't demand respect. I always say, I never demand respect from anyone. I give respect right out of the box. I think every human deserves 100% respect immediately. It's up to you to whittle that respect away.
Right. I agree.
Let me ask you, off cold case topic, just back, kind of moving back to some centralized topics. Do you find yourself more science based as it relates to say treatment of, and this is totally off topic, of diseases, ailments, or would you put the focus of medicine and wellness on this in the terms of like prevention and yeah, prevention basically, and think, like more of an Eastern philosophy. You know what I mean? Like
I'm more of a science girl.
I kind of
And the
figured, yeah.
reason being, I'm a retired healthcare provider, and I am here to tell you that I can't get over what's happened in our world where people are not believing science anymore.
It's
Um,
crazy.
it makes me scared for the future,
Mhm.
because I see us progressing. I see science progressing in so many different ways, but it's almost like as science progresses, we as a human race are backsliding horrifically.
Well, let me press you a little bit on that and ask, considering, let's consider that science is already accounted for and that good science was done. Do you, see anything opposing, maybe focusing more on consciousness and positivity and things like that in terms of relating it to, um, the literal physiological self?
I think that you have to have both, um, because I think, for example, people and I can speak to this just because of the treatment that my son got when he was going through cancer at the age of 4.
Mm,
And when you look at a 4-year-old who's going
mm,
through chemotherapy and radiation and all of that, and then you look at an adult that's going through the exact same stuff, the same kind of
mhm,
diagnosis, same kind of treatment. These kids who are diagnosed, they never lose sight of their hope. They never lose sight of what's important in life to them. They just want to play. They just want to be able to go out and have a good time and do what they love doing. Now, does that mean that they don't get sick, or or feel bad from the treatment? They sure do. But as soon as they're done, for example, puking, they jump up. Can I go outside and play? And you're kind of like, what the hell? Because you've got an adult over here who, as soon as they get the diagnosis, they pull the covers up over their head, and oh,
right.
woe is me. And I'm not making light of anyone who's gotten a
Sure.
cancer diagnosis. I get it,
I think it's a
but
wonderful point to illustrate. I'm fascinated.
what it is that we as adults, we don't have that great outlook that we need. And I think, when you're talking about the physical body and healing it, you have to have a positive attitude from the mind. I think it works hand in hand.
Mhm.
I really do.
That's kinda what I was, that's what when I started out that question, that's what I was originally going for. I was pretty sure that you would still feel like some Eastern philosophy was good, but that it would be backed by good, solid science.
Oh, Randy, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better really soon, my
What's
dear.
happening with Randy? Is he
He
ill?
said, well, yeah, he has been, and he said that he still has an enlarged spleen, and he's
Oh.
waiting to find out if he has to have surgery.
Oh,
So,
Randy, man.
yeah, my heart goes out to you, Randy, and my prayers are with you. I hope that you'll still be able to be there for the memorial walk. I'm planning on coming. So I'll just throw that out
When is
there.
that again, Kristen? When it
I think it's October 21st. Randy, is the memorial walk October 21st? Please put it in chat. Because yeah, I am planning on coming for that.
and also for the second time in a row, chat, I know you guys are being pretty active. I'm so sorry I'm not reading, like, all these other all these other people seem to be able to do, but I'm, like, feverishly going through. I don't know if you can hear the notes shuffling in the background, but I'm
You are
feverishly
so fine.
sifting
Don't worry
sifting
about
through
it.
notes, so, hopefully,
These
I'll have
people,
some.
these people that are here love you. They already know you from
Oh,
interacting with you on
I
other
know,
channels. So
I
just,
know, they're great.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, I love them too, and, some of them have been very, and no
Thanks,
one's been bad,
Randy.
but some have been, very helpful. What does this say? Yeah, the 21st, yes, at,
At
12:30 PM.
12:30. Mhm.
Yep. Maybe I ought
Yep.
to try to go to that. I'm not that far away. I'm maybe 3 hours, 2 and a
I
half,
was
3
just gonna
hours
say,
away.
you should come.
I
You should
should, I
come.
should, I should. I'll
Yep,
try to plan for that, everybody. I will try. I have a hard time making commitments. It depends on the money and the blah 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 blah.
obviously.
But
But yeah, Randy, I hope you'll be there because I am so excited to come and meet all of you guys. I'm really looking
I
forward
think
to
yeah,
that.
me too. I think it'd be great. I don't know if Mr. Steve's gonna go. Oh, let's talk about that really quick.
Uh-huh.
Some of the people that I don't want to necessarily say that influenced you because that's kind of general, but I mean just some of the people that you're friends with, maybe outside, that started out on the web sleuth community, um, and kind of the circumstances of why, like I think we can say like Fig and Mr. Steve, of course. I mean, he's actually when I say he's done your show, I mean he's literally done your show. I
Yes.
mean, you were not feeling well, and he came on,
Yes.
and it was so fun. And
Yeah,
I
he's
love that guy so
amazing.
much. He is.
He reached out to me right after I got home from the hospital last fall when I was in the intensive care unit with the heart condition that I was diagnosed with. And he said to me, hey, I know how important your channel is to you. And if you want me to cover any of your shows, you let me know. Just tell me what you want to talk about, and
Hey,
I'll do my best. And I took him up on it. I was like, what an offer. You
oh, and it
know,
was fun. It was so different. It was like,
yeah.
like when Joan Rivers would, host. Well, I'm not saying Steve's
Mhm.
like Joan Rivers, but I mean he is funny, and
Oh yeah, he is
would
funny.
host the Tonight Show.
I just love him to death. He
I do.
is Mrs. Steve as well. They both are just super good people. They
Mhm.
have hearts of gold, and
They do.
he's in it for all the right reasons.
Yep.
And he's just, I just can't say enough about him. And he's such a professional when it
Mhm.
comes to all of this. And he is a great teacher. He has
And he's
taught me so much
oh,
about
oh, I bet.
crime scenes and what they do when it comes to the collection of evidence and what they look for.
Hmm. He's a huge resource for this community, especially when you're talking about chuckleheads like me that have no good experience at anything except for bringing you a pizza and some weed. So to have Steve and you, Kristen, Sleuth, of course, some of my other favorite people, Frank and Marv too. I mean, they may not be together anymore, but you still go see each one for Thanksgiving. And
Exactly.
yeah.
I love Frank Meister. I think that he has really stepped up to the plate. He's there for the families. He cares about facts. He cares about being factual, which to me is 100% where we need to be. That doesn't mean that we can't talk about theories and we can't talk about
Mhm.
ideas or things that we think, as long as we make sure that that's what we're doing and that the speculation doesn't get crazy out of hand.
Right.
Sleuth is amazing. Sleuth has always been, um, to me, he's like, how do I want to put it? He's got the mind of like, that's just so analytical
Mhm.
and so critical thinking. Um, and
He's
and I
he's a
just
total
love,
badass. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Sleuth is a badass.
yeah, and I
I mean,
love
he really is.
bantering back and forth with him about things. I respect him so much. I don't
So
agree
do
with
you.
him politically, but
Yeah.
I do agree with him humani humanly,
Yeah.
whatever.
I do too. Yeah, absolutely, because he has a good heart. He
He
basically wants
does.
he wants to get to the we all wanna get to the I mean, if
Yes.
we could all stop web sleuthing tomorrow because every cold case got solved, I don't think any of us would be sad about that. I sure
Oh
wouldn't
gosh,
be. I would
no.
do
That
something
would be
else.
an awesome thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I think that his heart's in the right place, and so is a lot of people. Deb, True Crime Notebook. I'm trying to. I still haven't. I can do links now. That's no problem. But there's a whole section about putting up channels on
Yeah.
your channel, and it does nothing. It just looks at me when I click on it. So I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Yeah, you have
Have
to
you
add those. I can help you with that later. We can
ever?
do that. We can
Because
work
you're
on
not
that.
busy enough. You got to help me with technical support.
But yeah, you can add channels that you like and you can
I
add
do
them
want to.
in there.
Ruckus. I like Ruckus.
I really like Ruckus a lot. I really I value his opinions on many things.
Oh,
Again,
and
Cop Facts. He's another one who I have a
I like Cop
relationship
Facts.
away from here. Um,
He's so
you
cool,
know,
man. Cop Facts is so cool. He's like, you can
yeah,
only imagine that everywhere he goes, every single day, whatever he's doing, he's like busting somebody. Like he's just going to buy, like a pack of smokes or something. He's like, I got, and he's just arrest somebody for, and
mhm.
he's like Clint Eastwood,
Yes,
if you
everybody
want to
says he's
mention,
just like Clint Eastwood. That's what they
he is, he
remind him
looks like
of.
him. He has the same
Um,
demeanor,
he's he's very quiet, but yet um, he's very forceful. You know what I mean? He has a presence about him.
a
Um,
quiet intensity, you would say,
exactly, very
like a serial
quiet
killer. No offense,
intensity.
Cop Facts.
Yeah, yeah. Real Gone Gonzo is like he's
That's why I was sorry. I had it written down somewhere. Real Gone Gonzo. Now I wondered. Now you might know because you know him personally, correct? I mean, you kind of know him on a
yes,
more personal level
I
than
know
just
him
a fat
personally.
guy.
Yes.
So like the name Gonzo. I mean, is there something relating to Hunter S. Thompson's supposed attorney Laszlo, or is it his own concept with that?
He's been called that since he was little.
Okay.
So
I just
it's
wondered. I mean, if you've ever
yeah.
watched Fear and Loathing, or well, I mean, I read the book, but I watched the movie too. But it's one of the three books I ever read. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes.
You know, of course, Gonzo journalism or whatever
Right.
is it
Right.
for Hunter Thompson. Whew,
He
although Mind Shock might be ruining me on Hunter Thompson. All of a sudden, it's like is Hunter Thompson involved in the Johnny Gosh murder? And I'm like, whoa, no way, Bruce. So who knows?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Um
Bruce is crazy. Bruce, I don't mean anything by that. Don't dox me, please, Bruce. I love you. Um, well, okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to move on here. I'm sort of. Do you have anything you want to add, really quick, at all about anything?
um
Anything you want to plug? And you have a show coming up?
I have a show coming up on Tuesday. I haven't decided yet what my actual true topic is going to be. It will be Delphi related. Just because I think that there's just too much going on that we
Hmm.
just can't not talk about Delphi. But I'm trying to get my head around it and how I really want to present it. I, like I said, I'm kind of reeling from this whole week. True Crime Maria is another person who I'm extremely close to outside of
Okay.
here. We have a very personal relationship. I talk to her nearly daily. And she and I went over this whole thing, this whole memorandum that came out. And
And it was a lot. It was a
it
big one,
was
right? I mean,
a
it was a lot.
ton. It was
Yeah.
so much. And it took us hours because I read it and she listened. And then we would talk about it. And it was just like, we were both just shocked. And I was, like I said, I had to let my blood pressure come down and then really start looking at it objectively and not emotionally. And I just don't think that I think it's an attempt for them to try to create a defense. And I
Hmm.
like I said, and I said create a defense. I don't think he's defensible at this point. And I
Well,
mean, I would
not when you
not be
put yourself there.
surprised
I mean,
one way or the other. I'm not one of those people that is stuck on a POI. I
right.
just want justice for Abby and Libby, period. But I feel with everything that law enforcement has told us and everything that we know so far that is evidence, he himself put himself there and placed himself in the middle of all of this. And now he's admitted it. And so I don't buy the whole um Odinites in the prison thing. I mean, the patches, all of it. I just don't buy it. Now they can't prove it because they don't have pictures of this. They don't have it's just an affidavit from a defense attorney stating this is what they saw. Um, I just can't imagine they would get away with wearing these kinds of patches. I hate people. Can you imagine a prison guard wearing a patch that says "I hate people"?
Actually, yeah, I can kind of imagine that actually,
I
yeah.
mean, I can't imagine that
Nothing
them
against prison guards,
allowing
man.
it is what I'm saying.
You can't love people.
They have a uniform for a reason. And I'm not
I
saying
wanna
that
mention
prison guards can't be jerks or really
right.
bad, you know?
It
I'm
can't
not
be an
trying to
easy it can't be an easy job,
no,
but,
it obviously can't be, and it's like there are certain jobs that take certain people, you know, types to do, but,
yeah.
yeah, I'm just not
Like, at the
buying
end of the day, when you can say, "We know this is about power to you," you might be a prison guard, but,
it. Yeah,
let's see. I did
exactly.
wanna mention one other creator who's had a huge influence on me personally, and I'm not sure how many of the ones we already mentioned know about her, but if you guys would sub to her channel, Lana, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I did it, Lana. I'm so sorry. Truth and Transparency. She's been covering hardcore the Koberger situation,
Oh,
and
cool.
she is her research skills are just in my opinion, not that I have any, so judging them may not be that good, but I just love her and I love her show. So that's Lana at Truth and Transparency. Of course, I'd assume everyone here is already subbed to your show, and in fact, everyone here is probably from your show, so sub to my show.
You are
Whatever
so
we call it, we
kind.
still don't really have a name for it, so I don't know. Whatever this is, the next show is gonna be named Episode 3. Mm.
Well, I like I said, I'm just, you know, I was thrilled when you asked me to come on. I think you're gonna do great in this forum if you, stay real and true to yourself, and it's hard to do, trust me. You and I know, you've been around my channel long enough, and you've been in the community long enough that you know the drama that comes within this community. Do
I
not let
guess so.
yourself get sucked into it. That's my advice,
I
because
mean,
it's real easy to have it happen.
yeah, I don't I promise you I won't because my real life is probably equally or far more dramatic, to be honest with you. I mean, I just don't have time for that BS. So, it's just a situation where like I'm basically like, well, as long as you don't show up at my house, then I won't have to like take drastic action against you.
Yeah.
Basically, is where I'm at. I don't really give a shit what you put up. I don't have anything, I mean, I have nothing. So, you could try to take my what do you call that? Steal my identity. And if you're able to get credit on my name, let me know because I will start reapplying for credit cards again. Um, let's see.
How's the door dashing going?
I love it. I love DoorDash. I love the concept. I know that sounds crazy to say, but if they could add cannabis to that, I think it would be perfect. You already can deliver alcohol.
Mhm.
So, when you look at it from the aspect of sober people bringing loaded people supplies, I don't see where it's wrong. Until they can materialize that shit like Star Trek, I think there's always going to be an avenue for me to have a job. And I'll tell you what, pizza delivery, notoriously recession proof.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly.
So,
Because people always want their pizza.
yeah, and usually people don't see it as such a high price. It's not a washing machine, so you're not like having
Right.
to. Although, I mean, for me lately, it is a decision of do you just get the crazy bread or do you actually get the classic, pepperoni pizza? But
So do I have to ask you, did you put the tie on for me today?
yes,
That is so nice. I was like, "Man, does he clean up nice."
and I realize that my face is obscured. I'm trying to I could use a little dental work and also I'm trying to listen to what Sleuth was talking to me. It's like they already know my name and there's no point in putting everything out there,
Nope.
I don't think. I mean, and if
You do what you feel comfortable doing. Don't let anybody else talk you into anything.
as soon as I find a chiclet the right size to go in this tooth hole, then I'll take this thing off. Anyways, I okay. We're about ready to wrap it. Can anybody tell me how long I've been on? Can you guys tell? I have no idea.
We've been
What
on
time
for
is it?
58 minutes and
Oh, good.
57 seconds.
Woo! Trying
If
to
you
fill
look
that
at
hour.
the if you look up at StreamYard and look up in the left corner, you should see the live button. See where it says
Oh yeah.
live and it tells you how long.
Yep, I do. I can. Yeah, I need glasses really bad. Actually, I mean, I have them on, but these I need actually prescription ones.
Yeah.
Uh, these are the like dollar store readers,
Mhm.
which So I think then we'll be wrapping it up. I was going to ask you your thoughts on UFOs because I want to get everyone on record. What do you think? Are they here? Have they been here? What do you feel about the revelations that came out in front of Congress a couple months ago? How do you feel about that?
I definitely believe in them. I believe there's been too many sightings for them not to be real. I also believe that it's pretty arrogant for us as a planet to think that we're the only ones here or out there. Um, and
Right.
I'm a religious person, but I still feel that way. I just do. Always have.
Well, I think that there is. I think the Catholics have made room for extraterrestrial life in their variety of religion. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I think others will have to kind of do the same because I don't think it's going to be very long before they're on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, really, I was deep diving this before. Well, whatever it means for me to be deep diving on the internet. I mean, look, I'm not an intelligence officer, but I mean, I was watching a lot of obscure shit, and I guess I was depressed, so I was watching all this stupid stuff, and I knew that something was really going on. Like, I don't know if they're putting like alien embryos in the rabbit wombs and shipping them from London over here, but maybe um, crazy stuff. But I definitely believe in it. I always have. I was raised to believe it. So um,
Yeah.
my mom having a major sighting in um, February, I believe, or March of 1966, around the same time that the Hillsdale sightings here in Michigan happened when
Mhm.
J.
Very
Allen Hynek,
familiar with
uh,
those.
yeah, so, the whole swamp gas, was coined here, and
Yeah.
that pissed off Gerald Ford, and, that's the last time that there were congressional hearings, actually, before the ones that took place a couple months ago.
Right,
So I thought it
right.
was interesting, but I think that what's coming out is the truth. I think a lot of truth is coming out. I think there's gonna be some, my favorite word, obfuscation going on with it, and there's definitely room for steering that sort of story anywhere. It goes crazy
Right.
places. Story like no one even knows, but is it real? I believe so. And then just one thing, everybody. I'll be taking suggestions from you guys. I do a lot on my community page on the YouTube channel. Like I find myself doing more stuff there really than even on the live stuff. I don't know, Kristen, do you utilize that
I
section much?
love it. I love my community
I
page.
I thought it was just me. I thought I found something no one
I
else knew
I
about.
just no, I love it. I think it's a great way to engage with your audience,
Mhm.
and utilize it. Utilize it as much as you can because
Yeah.
a lot of times it's just those, everybody's big into shorts. I'm really a live stream girl.
Well, I
I
don't
don't
like
have a
short.
lot of time to sit and just make videos.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know,
Yeah, I'm not 12. Yeah, I can't do it.
so I just,
I don't
yeah,
have the
I'd
energy
rather
of a
just
rabbit.
hop on and say what I wanna say and then get off. But, I'm a really, wordy woman, so
Well,
it
I mean,
takes me a little bit longer than an hour to get through my live streams.
yeah, but at the same time, you're concise, you explain things well, and you apply high standards. So, I mean, I think that's what you want in a broadcaster, right? You don't want somebody to just come on and say, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, you have to have that ability to sort of work yourself up and
Yeah.
and get it, you know, almost sort of making your own tornado.
Well, make
Like,
sure you go back and read all the comments from the chat
oh,
because these
oh yeah,
people in here really like you, and they have really said some wonderful
that
things.
makes me laugh. That makes me
No,
laugh.
they do, and they've said some
I
wonderful
like them
things
very much.
about you.
I know. I've been pretty close with them the last couple weeks. It's like they know I've been kind of going through a shitty time, and I'll be honest with you, like for the longest time, I resisted having these connections online at all. I mean, the first time I ever even talked to a community of people on a regular was on Sleuths, with Sleuths, a crowd, and I still consider myself, part of that community.
That's where
Um,
I found you. I mean, I found you over there.
aw, like a lost
And I
little
was
puppy.
like, "Oh my god, I love Derek." And then you started, coming into my chat and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and so I was like, "He's amazing. You're just a really good guy." And I told you that before, and I mean that. I just think you have a good heart, And that's what we need in this community is we need people like that, you know. And there's Purdue. I love Purdue
Oh, hi,
RN.
Purdue. I
She's
love Purdue too. I
I
love
know.
everyone in chat. Jamie and Ruth, and I
Jamie's
mean, I know them
awesome.
all.
I
Cindy,
loved I
Charlotte,
love Jamie
and they're
too.
all so great.
And Cindy. I mean,
Yep.
they all are just really good people and very loyal. I
And
mean,
super positive, by the way.
and very
And
positive.
the yeah,
Yes.
the energy has been really amazing. So I want to end the show though with a request from the host. That's me. Um just quickly, and then Chris and I'll, of course, I'll sign off properly. But I just as far as the you know how like you kind of come onto a show and it's like everybody's like, hit the like and do the share thing. And I do that for all the shows because I know it helps the algorithm, and I know people um want to kind of drive their brand or whatever, but I'm requesting that nobody does that on this show. I would prefer that you would reserve your like or your dislike until the end of the broadcast, or until you're done watching, whichever comes first, no pressure. Or if you break it up, wait until you're done watching the second half, whatever you do. I'd like an honest I'd like to know what you like about it and what you dislike about it. I mean, and if you heavily like it or you heavily dislike it, don't be ashamed or afraid to put that up in the comment section, as long as you're not being a dick. So
Exactly.
that's where I'm at with that. And I know that sounds crazy. It's
No,
really my
I think
only.
it's great. I mean, why
Uh,
would you like something you haven't seen yet? I get that
I
you
would,
can like
yeah.
you, but you might not like the show.
Exactly, and because I'm gonna be doing a little bit more of a variety show, it'll be easier to sort of gauge where, what's working, what's not. I say hit nothing for mediocrity. If you're not feeling anything for one of these shows, and that doesn't mean you have to have some orgasmic experience, but I'm saying if you're like, "Oh my god, boring, holy shit, move on," then just don't hit anything. I'd rather know that if I had 300 people watching and 12 people hit the like button, that I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Um, I don't care
right.
about driving sales. I'm not a carnival barker. I'm not shouting at everyone to hit anything. I need and want honest input. Um, I guess that's just how I feel about it.
I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you.
It's an amateur broadcasting network. I mean, I'm not going to come on feeling like I'm going to be a pro or anything. So any constructive criticism you give me in a, relatively, and you can even be kind of a jerk about it or funny. I love it. I like roast humor. You can, whatever. Um, just don't try to hurt my feelings, or else I'll hurt yours back. I'd like a new algorithm, one based on reality.
Yeah. You know who you remind me of?
G. Gordon Liddy.
No. No, you remind me of Hoosier,
Hoosier.
the
Oh, Hoosier,
bruiser.
yeah.
Hoosier the bruiser.
Hoosier the Bruiser?
You
Oh, well,
do.
that's a huge compliment. I mean,
You
I've only
remind me
watched
of
a few of his
Hoosier.
shows. I
And
mean,
and
I I don't
and
think
you
I have that
really
kind of
truly do.
integrity. I don't know if I have that kind of integrity, Kristen.
You really, really do. And that's refreshing to me. I didn't know that until I watched your interview with Sleuth, and then, you know, and watching you and how you are and stuff. That's who you remind me of.
Well, I'll take that as a huge compliment from you. Thank you so much for
You're so welcome.
stopping by. They call it a studio. It's kind of funny. They said, "We love your studio." And I said, "Well, I mean, it's all my real shit. It's not a studio. I mean, there's no backdrop. I mean, my cot is over there, my hard cot that I sleep on against the wall. I mean, this is where I live. It's just like this. This is it." But
It's same. I mean, this is my office, but it's got all kinds of
I
stuff.
like
My,
that. Yeah.
it's me. It is where I live, and yeah, there's all
And
kinds of
also,
stuff here.
I'm not trying to get level up or get to say that if hit it, I'm still going to hit the like and share as soon as I go into my favorite shows that I like. I'm only for this channel because it's a variety show, and I really don't care about driving any algorithm. I want honest feedback is all I'm looking for, and I've made it clear to all my subscribers, if they want to collaborate on a show, if they want to come on and do their own show, we have a whole channel with 24 hours of time on it. Anytime you guys want to do something.
Okay, awesome, awesome, love
So
it,
um
and love you. So
and I love you back, and and chat and subscribers. Love all you guys. And I don't know quite when episode 3 is going to come out, other than I will try to be consistent because everyone keeps telling me the really annoying thing, I think, for the listener is people that will do a show and then it's 6 months and then a week later and it's just really inconsistent. So I'll
Yes.
try to, but I'll try to get them to go quicker, than 2 weeks. So I'd like at least one show a week. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I was
and
doing 3. I was doing 3 shows a week for
oh,
over
I
a year
know.
and a half, and I can't do it anymore.
No
I can't
way.
Yeah, I can't do 3 show I was doing Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturday nights, and I just can't do it anymore.
But I'm actually going to reapproach that. And that was actually one of my questions. Was going to be my first. If money and time were no consideration, what would a day look like for you? Where would your passion take you?
I I would definitely be researching, for my YouTube channel, I would just be researching and putting together really good content.
Awesome.
And like you said, putting together content and good content should involve some kind of research.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to be a great researcher to do that. But I just think that you can engage better with your audience if you try to teach them something or
Mhm.
let them know something that they may not know already. And it's hard when you're covering one specific case for so long, over and over again, when nothing's coming out from law enforcement. It's like regurgitation of what we already know.
Well, and worse than that, what is coming out is now all of a sudden you're saying the opposite shit than you were saying a year ago. It's like,
Exactly.
not only are you not saying anything, you're screwing up what you already said.
Yeah.
It's like it's just so frustrating,
And
but
this
we'll leave it
case
there.
has done that, Derek, to us from look at how it's been for
I know.
years. You know, one person in law enforcement says something and somebody else contradicts them. And then that somebody else says something else and it's just, or they contradict themselves. It's
Mhm.
been like that. But a great show. I really enjoyed being here. I'll be
I
on
enjoyed having
anytime
you
you
so much.
ask me. I'll
Oh,
make time for you, so don't
excellent.
think I won't. And we should do this again.
And we absolutely will. Thank you so much, chat. I
So
swear I'm
welcome.
gonna get I swear I'm gonna get better at reading the comments, or maybe I'll have somebody on just to read them or something. I don't really know what to do about that. So maybe I need glasses where it just prints on the inside of the glasses and I can just respond that way. But
Purdue
um
wants to buy you a coffee, so you need to go to Buy Me a Coffee and
oh,
start an account so that people can
okay.
buy you coffees.
Oh, that's sweet. You guys don't have to do that. I mean, really, you don't have to. I'll do it though for sure.
You need to do it. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's such a
Um
nice way for people to show their their like of you and let them buy you a
It
cup of
is, but
coffee.
I mean, I know, but I don't want anyone thinking like I'm not doing this for that reason. Like I really needed a creative outlet in life. Like I'm 50 and I've
Totally get it,
always
my dear.
I tried to play music. I'm terrible, by the way. Anything I've tried to do, it's just been like I tried to play baseball and the ball would like land next to me and I'm like looking up still. I mean, everything wrong. So when I heard talk radio initially, Howard Stern, of course, and then who turned out to be my favorite broadcaster of all time, Jay Thomas, who played Mindy's boyfriend on the show Mork and Mindy. Anyways, that's a whole different show. Thanks for coming on,
You're
and
very welcome. And I
we'll
will
see
talk to
everybody
you
in a week or two.
soon. Goodbye,
Yeah,
you
I'll
guys.
email you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Kristen. Thanks, chat. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you.